And in that process, I took in some children who lost their homes as my disciples. That's when a slight problem occurred in my life plan. Originally, I planned to work hard as a hunter while I was still young, save enough money for retirement, and train just a few disciples to continue fighting the slave traders. Essentially setting up an automatic hunting system. However, while working as a hunter was enough to support myself, it had become near impossible to save money while raising disciples. And since I had enough disciples, I decided to make use of them. During that time, many noble families and martial arts schools were vying for power. After discussing with my disciples, we decided on a name for our martial arts school first. That's how MANHWA was born. MANHWA was established to properly train and raise my disciples. Though I was strong, I began my journey learning the wrong techniques and was not talented enough, so I reached my limit quickly. But my disciples were different. Under my guidance, they were able to learn the correct techniques. And all of them are incredibly talented. So, I planned to train my disciples to the point where they no longer needed my guidance, so that when they grew up and expanded the school's influence, they could bring in new disciples. And I would take a reasonable share of the donations and profits as a result of that. I thought I could spend the rest of my life reaping benefits that way without even working. However, right when my disciples grew up and were about to expand our influence, the Tower of Destruction appeared. MANHWA. Ah, sorry for zoning out. It reminded me of old times. It's okay, Master. What have you been doing after becoming a constellation? Also, how did you find me? I knew that you would be reincarnated, Master. A notification popped up a little while after I became a constellation. As expected, even Sasami. So I chose a human who could become my hands and feet as the first contractor. After that, I established Ilgio. And continued to operate with 4 members. I named the organization Ilgio. To signify that you're the person I'd recognize as the leader, Master. What? That's why I killed everyone who claimed to be the best, except for Master. You killed them all. Yes. Of course, it wasn't done indiscriminately. When people were bestowed the title strongest, we watched them closely, and the moment they proclaimed the title, we killed them. Then, how did you find me? We used the same method. Even a slight mistake in my words would have gotten me killed by my own disciple, huh? That's a relief. So, we killed those who claimed to be the strongest swordsmen, like John Sin, and an evil organization called Blood Hunters, that only targeted strong contractors. You killed a lot of them. I believe I was able to meet the resurrected Master thanks to this method. What? Master was undoubtedly the strongest among us, but you were also humble and would never boast about your strength. Well, it's not like I was being humble, I just stayed quiet since truth prevails. Anyway, now we have you, Module, and Luminous. Ah, you've already met the other sisters. Didn't you know? With the resources to find me, I thought you'd already know. I knew all 4 sisters also became constellations, but we can only see through the eyes of our contractors. So I was aware that Master was meeting with people from the Ventric family in the black market, but I didn't know they were sisters contractors. That's right. Anyway, your timing was perfect, Sasami. I think I might need your help soon. What? Let's wrap up today's conversation here. I'll invite your contractor to a gathering with the others contractors, so let's talk then. Okay. A few days later. Heroes Academy. Conference room. What the? You're already here. No, I just arrived too. What on earth is that group? The owner of the market and the chairman of Valhalla, Black Cat whom I saw last time. That person is definitely the head of the Ventric family, Adelia Ventric. And that mask, don't tell me. Ilgio. Aren't you going to sit down? No, I'll stand at the back. Well then, where should I start? Well. Aren't you the master of the constellations we serve? That's right. Master. I recently managed to piece together what happened after I died. To give you a rough idea of my story. Just as the constellation said. Are you saying that it was you, Mr. Ju-hyuk, who destroyed the Tower of Destruction and saved the world 300 years ago? It's a bit embarrassing to say it like that, but that's correct. It's true that there was a time known as the Age of Destruction, when the Tower of Destruction suddenly appeared and led the world to decline. But the records only state that the tower collapsed after unleashing monsters. So we didn't know Mr. Ju-hyuk was the one who destroyed it. Huh. Didn't Module or Luminous mention it? To be honest, aside from when he's with Mr. Ju-hyuk, the constellation never communicated with anyone. The ruler of the underworld. The Tower of Destruction. I only remember entering with my master. Is what she said. Is that so? I guess even the disciples don't remember anything right before becoming constellations, huh? Well, since they've met me, they'll gradually regain those memories. Anyway, everyone who was somewhat famous back then became constellations now. That's why the constellations started appearing after the Age of Destruction. Then, all the constellations are people who died during that time. Probably not all of them, but most likely the majority. I see, now it makes sense why the constellations react so strongly to the artifacts from the Age of Destruction. And as I mentioned last time, the one who created the Tower of Destruction is causing disasters and sending constellations. That's why, in the end, the Tower of Destruction will reappear. It will reappear. Yeah, but it seems like we still have 4.5 years. I'm gathering my disciples to prevent that and also increasing my power by dealing with the constellations that invade occasionally. This time, I'll definitely eliminate the Tower of Destruction, Axon, and minimize the damage so that the name Age of Destruction is never mentioned again. Honestly. It's hard to believe. Well, I can understand that. I also learned from my constellation that Mr. Ju-hyuk was known as the martial god. 300 years ago. You also saved the constellation and passed down the first authority. Is that so? I don't remember the details well. If you really are the martial god from 300 years ago, can I ask you to spar with me? Of course. I don't understand this situation. Logan must have thought that this situation was absurd. Suddenly discovering that a high school student is a hero from 300 years ago and the master of his constellation. It might make sense logically with testimonies and evidence, but emotionally, it's hard to accept. So, he wants to confront it physically. To see if Kim Ju-hyuk is not just a strong high school student, but a person from that era. Ugh. Heroes Academy Director's Office. Did that loud sound come from the stadium? There's no way we're under attack again, right? No, hold on. I will invite guests to Heroes Academy today. Beck President. It's still a secret. Inviting guests, you say. Who are they? Also, don't panic even if you hear any loud sounds. It would be because of me. Logan, I do trust you, but who on earth did you bring? Arg, damn it. I'm being pushed back. This can't be the strength of a high school student. He didn't just deal with the monsters using the power borrowed from the constellations. Is that how it is? Mr. Ju-hyuk. Is it okay if I use my magic power? Oh ho. He was fighting without even using his magic power till now. Sure, do as you please. But I'll keep fighting without using my magic power. Understood. Wow, that's intense. Did I brag about not using magic power for no reason? Honestly, I'm a bit overwhelmed. Well, I've become stronger in terms of magic power by absorbing those constellations, but my physical strength is still lacking. Since it grows with my body, I can do nothing about it. Still, considering I'm fighting the top ranker who's fighting with the power of a constellation, this should be pretty good, right? Well, let's call it a day for this honest battle of strength. But you should put a bit more weight into it. Because it's meant to finish the opponent in a single hit. KQ. MMHM. HAA. Oh, are you awake? I thought you fainted, so I moved you here for now, but I was seriously considering moving you to the infirmary. I see. I'm fine now, thank you. You really are a reincarnated person. What? Didn't I say that already? I'm sorry, I know you did, but... Well, I understand. I know that some people have to experience it themselves to believe it. Your constellation, X, also had that kind of personality. You said you were looking for your disciples to stop the Tower of Destruction, right? Yeah. Then, I will also support your goals, Mr. Juhyuk. Really? Thank you. I know it's not my place to say this, but this is quite an interesting combination. The head of the Ventric family, Adelia Ventric. The owner of the market, Black Cat. The top ranker of the Contractors Association, Logan. And all of us from Ilgio. Speaking of which, I have a question. Sure. Have you perhaps seen anything that resembles my disciple here? Resembles? Your disciple? You say. Well, you know, like a relic or something. The main reason I suggested meeting here is that I felt a familiar magic last time. But now that I'm here, this area is filled with so much magic power that it's hard to pinpoint the location. Since this is also a training academy that produces hunters, there must be a lot of relics here, which makes it harder to detect. There is one. There was a relic that asked me to find its master. Logan. Did the guests leave? No, we are still in a meeting. Who exactly are these guests? It's Kim Joo-hyuk. Beck President. There was a loud noise. What in the world were you guys discussing? I'm sorry, but I can't go into the details. You can ask them yourself later. Can you give me the radiant sword? I entrusted you before. That sword. Honestly, that was giving me a headache too. It was giving you a headache. This light sword cannot be stored here. What the hell is this? Did the light sword cause all of this? That seems to be the case. Didn't you say you would store it with other sacred relics? That place should be safe enough to block the magical power. Of course, I was planning to put it in there, but... I couldn't. Why? The sacred relics guardians released their magic power to block the entry. And as if it's reacting to that magic power, the light sword also began to fluctuate with magic power. So in the end, I brought it here. But even this place couldn't handle the light sword. The magic power, or rather, the sinister energy emanating from the sword is even causing the storage room, which is wrapped in magic sealing spells, to break apart. So, I wanted to discuss how to deal with it, but you came looking for it just in time. By any chance, did you hear the phrase "please find my master"? I mentioned before. Well, I haven't heard anything since the light sword became like that. Is that so? Logan. You. The light sword's magic is diminishing. Logan, what on earth is this? I'm not sure. Then, I'll take this back. Right now. I thought you were still in a meeting. Yeah, I'm going to take it to the meeting place. What? What kind of meeting are you having right now? I'm sorry, Beck, but you'll understand everything soon. Good grief, as always, he's still doing things his own way, but he always keeps his promises. So, I'll trust you, Logan. I've brought it. Something's odd. I don't feel any magic power from the sword. The moment I held the sword to bring it here, it became like that. In fact, it was pretty much in the same state when I brought it back to the academy. Really? Yes, however. I occasionally heard a voice saying, "Please find my master." What is this? I don't really know much about this, but is this normal? Yes. Entering the realm of imagination requires the will of the constellation. Therefore, if the constellation refuses, you cannot enter. Refusal, you say. Barche, do you feel the familiar magic power you mentioned from this sword? Yes, it's very faint, but I can definitely sense it. So, is there no way to handle this? Well. Hyun-Oh Kim, do you remember what I said before? What do you mean? A door. Once appeared in the realm of imagination. You said that beyond the door, there was a space where all the constellations gathered, right? That's right. Now that I think about it, there wasn't just a single door in that space. Behind every constellation, there were doors, probably leading to the realm of imagination they came from. If my assumption is correct, just as I crossed into that space through the door, I should also be able to enter other constellations' realm of imagination by using their doors. Well, that makes sense. But, there's a problem. After hearing about the door, I tried to gather information from those guys, but they didn't know anything. That is perfectly understandable. Since it was a brief event that took place quite a while ago, there may be constellations who are still unaware of it, and above all, modern humans couldn't have experienced it. Then, would there be someone who'd know about this? Wait, there is one. Since there isn't anything for us to do today, let's all go back. All right. You Ilgio guy. What was your name again? We are merely the nameless protectors of our master. Please, address us as you wish, master. No, wait a minute. Ilgio greets the master. Then, from now on, you shall be the former protector. I understand. Today, you should also go back and talk with Adelia and Black Cat. I'm sure Sasami would like to talk with other sisters too. Yes. Then, let's go back. Heroes, okay. A few days later. It's been a while, how have you been? Forget about how well I've been, I heard all the second-tier constellations have come down, so I'm on edge. I'm absorbing every one of them I find. I'm sorry. Still, thanks to this, I've become much stronger. I appreciate that. And we met at the right time, guide. What? By any chance, do you know about a door? Where the constellations gathered. Ah, it's the arena, isn't it? Arena. Shortly after creating the constellations, the Lord of Labyrinth created a unique space. You could enter this space through doors that appeared in the constellations' realm of imagination. And that was the arena. Why did that guy create such a space? It was literally created for the constellations to fight each other. Even though they had lost their original names, new epithets started being attached to the constellations. Like ruler of the underworld, or something like that. Yes, those kinds of epithets. Those are ultimately a part of their name, so they carry power based on the constellations. The Lord of Labyrinth opened the arena to further amplify the power within these epithets. But it seems like the arena disappeared quickly, didn't it? It would be a problem if the Lord of Labyrinth himself created and then closed the arena. I was going to ask if there was a way to reopen the arena, but I guess I'll have to deal with the Lord of Labyrinth to do that, right? Ah, that's not an issue. The arena was opened by a constellation following the Lord of Labyrinth's orders, using their own abilities. What? Moreover, the reason I called you here today is that I've located that constellation, along with all the second-tier constellations. Seriously, the timing today is amazing. Tell me everything right away.